Welcome to Historical Legacies. Here, we dive into history's most intriguing stories, unraveling mysteries, and uncovering truths from the past. Subscribe to join our journey through time's greatest moments. In Bomb and Beyond, Oppenheimer's Triumphs and Trials, we delve into the multifaceted life of J. Robert Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb. From his early intellectual brilliance to his role in the Manhattan Project, this documentary explores his groundbreaking achievements, moral dilemmas, and lasting impact on science and society. 1. A Prodigy is Born, 1904 to 1921. J. Robert Oppenheimer was born on April 22, 1904, in New York City, into a family that valued education, culture, and intellectual pursuits. Born to Julius Oppenheimer, a wealthy textile importer, and Ella Friedman, a painter, Robert grew up surrounded by art, literature, and an atmosphere that encouraged curiosity. His family's affluence allowed him access to exceptional resources, nurturing his prodigious intellect. From an early age, he demonstrated an extraordinary aptitude for learning, displaying a keen interest in science and humanities. At the Ethical Culture School in Manhattan, a progressive institution that emphasized independent thinking and ethical responsibility, Oppenheimer's potential began to shine. His teachers noted his exceptional ability to absorb and analyze information, often describing him as a polymath. Despite his brilliance, Oppenheimer's early years were not without challenges. As a child, he suffered from poor health, which kept him away from physical activities and often isolated him from peers. This isolation, however, gave him ample time to immerse himself in books, fueling his fascination with a wide range of subjects. Chemistry became a particular passion during his teenage years, leading to experiments conducted in a makeshift lab in his family's apartment. By the age of 12, he had already written a letter to a prominent geologist proposing solutions to a mineralogical problem. In addition to his scientific curiosity, Oppenheimer was deeply influenced by his family's cultural pursuits. His mother's love for painting and his father's appreciation for classical art left an indelible mark on his worldview. Visits to museums and exposure to classical music became integral to his upbringing, shaping his aesthetic sensibilities. These early experiences cultivated a well-rounded intellectual foundation, setting him apart from many of his peers. Oppenheimer's interests extended beyond academics to include a fascination with philosophy, particularly the works of Plato and Kant, which he often debated with his teachers. During his high school years, Oppenheimer's scientific interests matured, and he began focusing more intently on chemistry and physics. His remarkable performance earned him admission to Harvard University in 1922, where he embarked on a journey that would redefine his intellectual horizons. The Ethical Culture School's emphasis on ethics and morality left a lasting impression, guiding Oppenheimer's later decisions and shaping his approach to scientific discovery. As he prepared to transition from high school to college, Oppenheimer's intellectual capabilities had already drawn attention from prominent educators. His passion for learning and his insatiable curiosity hinted at the transformative impact he would later have on the scientific community. Yet, even as he excelled in academics, his reserved and introspective nature set him apart from his peers, marking him as a unique figure. His exposure to literature and philosophical ideas deepened his understanding of the world, creating a multidimensional thinker who was as reflective as he was analytical. This formative period laid the groundwork for his future contributions to science and humanity. The convergence of intellectual brilliance, cultural exposure, and ethical grounding molded a young mind destined for greatness. Oppenheimer's early life was a prelude to a journey that would take him to the pinnacle of scientific achievement, but also into the depths of moral conflict. 2. Academic Wanderlust, 1922 to 1929. In 1922, Oppenheimer entered Harvard University, where he embarked on an intense and multifaceted academic journey. Majoring in chemistry, he completed the four-year program in just 3 years while pursuing interests in literature, philosophy, and ancient languages. Oppenheimer's academic rigor and intellectual curiosity earned him the admiration of professors and peers alike. At Harvard, he also delved into quantum mechanics, a burgeoning field that fascinated him with its potential to revolutionize our understanding of the universe. After graduating summa cum laude in 1925, Oppenheimer continued his studies at the University of Cambridge in England, where he worked under the physicist J.J. Thomson. However, his time at Cambridge was fraught with difficulties. Oppenheimer's lack of practical laboratory skills clashed with Thomson's experimental focus, leading to frustration and self-doubt. Despite these challenges, Oppenheimer persevered, redirecting his energies toward theoretical physics, where his analytical brilliance could flourish. In 1926, Oppenheimer moved to the University of Göttingen in Germany, a hub for quantum mechanics research. Under the mentorship of Max Born, he earned his doctorate in physics in 1927, completing a dissertation on quantum theory that garnered widespread acclaim. During his time in Göttingen, Oppenheimer collaborated with leading physicists such as Werner Heisenberg and Wolfgang Pauli, immersing himself in groundbreaking discussions that shaped modern physics. His contributions to quantum mechanics during this period included significant work on the quantum tunneling effect. Despite his academic achievements, Oppenheimer's personality often created tension. His sharp intellect and intense demeanor sometimes alienated colleagues, earning him a reputation for arrogance. Nevertheless, those who worked closely with him recognized his extraordinary ability to synthesize complex ideas and propose innovative solutions. These traits would later prove invaluable in his leadership of the Manhattan Project. Beyond academia, Oppenheimer explored cultural and philosophical interests. He was drawn to French literature, particularly the works of Baudelaire, and maintained a lifelong passion for poetry. His philosophical inclinations deepened as he grappled with questions about the ethical implications of scientific discovery. These contemplations would later influence his stance on nuclear weapons and global security. By 1929, Oppenheimer had established himself as a rising star in theoretical physics. His groundbreaking research and interdisciplinary approach to science earned him offers from prestigious institutions in the United States. Returning to his homeland, he accepted positions at the University of California, Berkeley, and the California Institute of Technology. These appointments marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life, one where he would transition from a brilliant student to an influential teacher and researcher. As he settled into these roles, Oppenheimer's charisma and intellectual breadth began to draw a following. His ability to connect with students and peers alike established him as a central figure in the academic community. The stage was set for the next phase of his career, one that would bring both extraordinary achievements and profound ethical dilemmas. 3. Quantum breakthroughs and teaching excellence, 1929 to 1939. Upon returning to the United States in 1929, Oppenheimer began a new phase in his career, taking positions at both the University of California, Berkeley, and the California Institute of Technology. These roles marked his transition from a promising student to an influential teacher and researcher. His dual appointments allowed him to explore his passion for theoretical physics while mentoring a new generation of physicists. Oppenheimer's lectures were renowned for their depth and clarity. He had a unique ability to make complex topics accessible, captivating students and fostering a dynamic academic environment. Many of his students went on to make significant contributions to the field of physics, a testament to his effectiveness as an educator. During this period, Oppenheimer also made critical advances in quantum mechanics and quantum field theory, further solidifying his reputation as a leading physicist. While excelling in academia, Oppenheimer's personality continued to intrigue those around him. His sharp intellect, combined with a reserved and introspective demeanor, made him a compelling but enigmatic figure. Despite occasional social awkwardness, his ability to connect with like-minded individuals and foster intellectual collaboration was unmatched. These traits helped him build a network of colleagues and students who respected his insights and leadership. During the 1930s, Oppenheimer became increasingly aware of the broader implications of scientific research. The rise of fascism in Europe and the looming threat of global conflict deeply concerned him. This awareness began to influence his work, as he considered not only the scientific challenges he faced, but also the ethical and societal consequences of his discoveries. His philosophical reflections on the responsibilities of scientists would later play a pivotal role in his leadership of the Manhattan Project. Oppenheimer's engagement with global issues extended beyond academia. He became interested in politics and social justice, influenced by the political climate of the time. Although not overtly political, his growing awareness of social and economic inequalities shaped his worldview. These experiences enriched his perspective, making him a more nuanced thinker and leader. By the end of the 1930s, Oppenheimer had established himself as a central figure in the American scientific community. His groundbreaking research, coupled with his ability to inspire and mentor others, positioned him as a leader in theoretical physics. The foundation was now set for the next chapter of his life, one that would place him at the forefront of one of the most significant scientific endeavors in history. For the Manhattan Project, a nation mobilizes, 1939 to 1942. Following the developments in nuclear physics and the discovery of nuclear fission in 1938, global scientific communities recognized the immense energy potential within the atom. This breakthrough coincided with escalating tensions in Europe as World War II loomed. In 1939, Albert Einstein and physicist Leo Szilard co-authored a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, warning of Nazi Germany's possible development of an atomic bomb. This letter catalyzed the United States' interest in harnessing nuclear energy for military purposes. Oppenheimer's expertise in quantum mechanics and his growing reputation positioned him as a key figure in these discussions. In 1941, the United States formally initiated nuclear weapons research under the codename the Manhattan Project, aiming to preempt German advancements. The project required collaboration among the brightest minds in physics, engineering, and chemistry. Recognizing the urgency of this endeavor, Oppenheimer was approached to lead the theoretical division of the project. Although not yet fully immersed in the project, Oppenheimer's role began to expand as he demonstrated his ability to synthesize complex ideas and coordinate large teams. His understanding of quantum theory and nuclear processes became critical to developing a functional bomb. Additionally, his interdisciplinary approach allowed him to bridge the gap between theoretical concepts and practical applications. These qualities made him an invaluable asset, despite initial concerns over his political affiliations and lack of administrative experience. By 1942, the Manhattan Project had transitioned from scattered research efforts to a coordinated national initiative. General Leslie Groves was appointed as the military leader of the project and recognized Oppenheimer's intellectual leadership. Despite their contrasting personalities, Groves and Oppenheimer formed a productive partnership. Together, they began assembling a team of top scientists, including notable figures like Enrico Fermi, Niels Bohr, and Richard Feynman. During this period, Oppenheimer played a pivotal role in identifying Los Alamos, New Mexico, as the central site for the project's research and development. His familiarity with the area from earlier expeditions contributed to this decision, as its isolation provided both security and a controlled environment for scientific experimentation. Establishing the Los Alamos Laboratory marked a significant milestone, creating a hub where theoretical designs and experimental methods could converge. Oppenheimer's involvement in the Manhattan Project also brought ethical considerations to the forefront. As a scientist deeply reflective about the implications of his work, he grappled with the moral weight of creating a weapon of unprecedented destructive power. This internal conflict began to manifest in his leadership style, as he balanced scientific progress with personal apprehensions. Nevertheless, his dedication to the project never wavered. As 1942 came to a close, the Manhattan Project had grown into a massive operation, involving thousands of scientists, engineers, and military personnel. Oppenheimer's influence was becoming increasingly central, as he coordinated efforts across disciplines and managed the complexities of nuclear research. The project's scale and urgency underscored the critical role of scientific innovation in shaping global events. The stage was now set for the Manhattan Project to accelerate its efforts, with Oppenheimer at the helm of theoretical research. His journey from an academic physicist to a wartime leader marked a turning point in his life and career. The challenges ahead would test his scientific ingenuity and ethical convictions like never before. 5. Designing destruction. The Physics of the Bomb, 1942 to 1945. As the Manhattan Project progressed, the task of designing and constructing an atomic bomb demanded unprecedented scientific innovation. Oppenheimer, now the scientific director at Los Alamos, was at the center of this Herculean effort. Bringing together physicists, engineers, chemists, and mathematicians, the laboratory became a hub of intense intellectual activity. The project's initial focus was on developing a theoretical understanding of nuclear chain reactions and how they could be harnessed to create an explosion of enormous magnitude. The scientists first addressed the challenge of achieving a critical mass, the minimum amount of fissile material required to sustain a chain reaction. Uranium-235 and plutonium-239 were identified as the most viable isotopes for this purpose. Extracting these isotopes in sufficient quantities, however, posed immense technical difficulties. The Oak Ridge facility in Tennessee and the Hanford site in Washington were established to produce uranium-235 and plutonium-239, respectively, using highly complex and resource-intensive processes. These efforts underscored the scale and ambition of the Manhattan Project. At Los Alamos, Oppenheimer oversaw efforts to translate these materials into functional weapon designs. Two primary bomb designs emerged: a gun-type assembly for uranium-235, codenamed Little Boy, and an implosion design for plutonium-239, codenamed Fat Man. The gun-type mechanism relied on firing one subcritical mass of uranium into another to achieve criticality. While conceptually simpler, this design was unsuitable for plutonium due to its higher rate of spontaneous neutron emission. As a result, the more complex implosion method was devised, requiring precise compression of a plutonium core using conventional explosives. Developing the implosion method proved to be one of the project's greatest technical challenges. Scientists and engineers had solved problems related to symmetry, detonation timing, and the behavior of materials under extreme conditions. Theoretical calculations were supported by extensive experimental work, including high-speed photography and the use of hydrodynamic test models. These efforts culminated in the Trinity test, the world's first detonation of a nuclear device, conducted in July 1945 in the New Mexico desert. Throughout this period, Oppenheimer's leadership was both inspiring and demanding. Known for his ability to grasp complex problems and synthesize diverse ideas, he earned the respect of his colleagues despite his occasionally abrasive demeanor. His interdisciplinary approach fostered collaboration among specialists, bridging the gap between theoretical physics and practical engineering. This environment of intense collaboration and innovation made Los Alamos a unique scientific community, united by a singular and monumental goal. While the technical aspects of the project advanced, Oppenheimer remained acutely aware of the moral implications of their work. The potential for unprecedented destruction weighed heavily on him and many of his colleagues. Some scientists questioned the necessity of using such a weapon, particularly as the war in Europe drew to a close. Nevertheless, the momentum of the project and the strategic considerations of the U.S. government kept the development of the bomb on track. By mid-1945, the Manhattan Project had reached its culmination. The successful enrichment of uranium and production of plutonium had provided the necessary materials for Little Boy and Fat Man. Final preparations were made for their deployment, marking the transition from theoretical designs to operational weapons. As the Trinity test approached, the scientists at Los Alamos awaited the results with a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. On July 16, 1945, the Trinity test validated their efforts. The detonation created a fireball that illuminated the desert sky, accompanied by a shockwave felt miles away. For Oppenheimer, the sight was both a triumph of scientific achievement and a harbinger of the weapon's destructive potential. He famously recalled a line from the Bhagavad Gita, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds," reflecting his inner conflict. With the success of the Trinity test, the atomic bomb became a grim reality. As the scientists at Los Alamos processed the implications of their work, they prepared to deliver the bombs to military authorities. The stage was set for their deployment in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, events that would forever change the course of history. Oppenheimer's role in designing destruction was complete, but the ethical and emotional consequences of his achievement were only beginning to unfold. 6. The Bombs Fall, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 1945. the deployment of the atomic bombs marked a turning point in history. On August 6, 1945, the U.S. Air Force dropped Little Boy over Hiroshima, a city of industrial and military significance. The explosion unleashed unprecedented devastation, with an estimated 80,000 people killed instantly and many more succumbing to injuries and radiation exposure. Buildings crumbled, fires raged, and survivors grappled with the incomprehensible destruction. Just 3 days later, on August 9, 1945, Fat Man was dropped on Nagasaki. While the city was not the original target, weather conditions necessitated a change in plans. This bomb, though detonated over a more mountainous terrain, caused immense destruction and loss of life. Approximately 40,000 people were killed instantly, with the death toll rising significantly in the following months due to burns and radiation sickness. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki forced Japan to surrender, effectively ending World War II. On August 15, 1945, Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's capitulation, marking a significant victory for the Allied powers. For many, these events symbolize the triumph of scientific innovation and military strategy over tyranny. However, the ethical and humanitarian consequences of the bombings sparked widespread debate that continues to this day. At Los Alamos, the reactions among scientists were mixed. While some viewed the bombings as a necessary evil to end the war and save lives, others felt profound guilt over the scale of destruction their work had enabled. Oppenheimer himself was deeply conflicted, expressing both pride in the scientific achievement and sorrow for the loss of life. In a meeting with President Truman shortly after the war, he reportedly remarked, "Mr. President, I feel I have blood on my hands." The bombings also had far-reaching geopolitical implications. The demonstration of nuclear power altered the balance of international relations, ushering in an era of atomic diplomacy and the Cold War. Nations raced to develop their own nuclear arsenals, driven by both fear and ambition. The destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki became a stark reminder of the devastating potential of nuclear weapons, prompting calls for arms control and disarmament. For the survivors, known as hibakusha, the aftermath of the bombings was a daily struggle. Many faced physical and psychological trauma, stigmatization, and long-term health complications. Their experiences and testimonies have become a powerful voice in advocating for peace and the abolition of nuclear weapons. The cities themselves, rebuilt from the ashes, stand as symbols of resilience and the enduring human spirit. As Oppenheimer reflected on the bombings, his inner turmoil grew. He grappled with the ethical dimensions of his role in creating a weapon of mass destruction. His work had brought an end to one of history's deadliest wars, but at a tremendous cost to humanity. This moral conflict would shape the next phase of his life and career, as he sought to reconcile his scientific achievements with their consequences. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki remain among the most controversial events in modern history. They highlight the dual-edged nature of scientific discovery, capable of both advancing human knowledge and causing unimaginable destruction. Oppenheimer's journey, from theoretical physicist to a central figure in these events, illustrates the profound responsibilities that come with wielding such power. 7. Aftermath of Triumph. Reflections and Regrets, 1945 to 1947. The end of World War II brought global attention to the unparalleled power of the atomic bomb. For Oppenheimer and his colleagues, the immediate aftermath was a mix of triumph and moral reckoning. While the Manhattan Project had achieved its primary goal, the long shadow of the bomb's devastation in Hiroshima and Nagasaki began to loom over its creators. Oppenheimer, in particular, found himself at the crossroads of fame, controversy, and introspection. Following the bombings, Oppenheimer emerged as a public figure celebrated for his leadership and scientific acumen. His pivotal role in the Manhattan Project earned him recognition as the father of the atomic bomb. Yet he expressed profound ambivalence about this title and the destructive force it represented. In private conversations and public statements, he often alluded to the moral dilemmas posed by the use of nuclear weapons. His reflections were encapsulated in his now famous quote from the Bhagavad Gita, which continued to resonate with audiences worldwide. As the United States government sought to consolidate its nuclear monopoly, Oppenheimer was appointed chairman of the General Advisory Committee (GAC) of the Atomic Energy Commission (AEC). In this role, he hoped to guide nuclear policy toward peaceful applications and international control of atomic energy. However, tensions quickly arose as political and military leaders prioritized the development of more advanced nuclear weapons, including the hydrogen bomb. Oppenheimer's opposition to such projects placed him at odds with influential figures and strained his relationships with former colleagues. Oppenheimer's advocacy for nuclear disarmament reflected his growing unease about the potential for an unchecked arms race. He believed that open dialogue and international cooperation were essential to preventing future conflicts involving nuclear weapons. His efforts included participation in post-war discussions, such as the Baruch Plan, which proposed international oversight of atomic energy. Despite his eloquence and scientific authority, these initiatives faced significant resistance from both U.S. policymakers and global rivals. The bombings also profoundly affected scientists who had worked under Oppenheimer's leadership. Many shared his mixed emotions, oscillating between pride in their technical accomplishments and regret over their consequences. A series of petitions and manifestos emerged from the scientific community, advocating for responsible nuclear policy and the prohibition of future use. Oppenheimer's voice often served as a bridge between these efforts and broader societal discourse, highlighting the ethical responsibilities of scientists in shaping humanity's future. During this period, the United States was grappling with its newfound position as a nuclear superpower. The bombings had not only ended the war, but also showcased the strategic significance of atomic weapons. This led to the establishment of the Atomic Energy Commission in 1946, marking the transition of nuclear development from military to civilian oversight. While this shift aimed to address some ethical concerns, it also entrenched the centrality of nuclear weapons in national security strategy. Oppenheimer's personal life also reflected the tensions of the time. His relationships with colleagues, friends, and family bore the weight of his evolving identity as both a scientist and a moral thinker. He continued to engage with the scientific community, giving lectures and mentoring young physicists. Yet, he also sought solace in literature, philosophy, and poetry, which had long been sources of inspiration and reflection for him. By 1947, Oppenheimer's role as a public intellectual was firmly established. He became a prominent advocate for the ethical use of science, often emphasizing the need for humility and foresight in technological advancement. His speeches and writings during this period reveal a man deeply committed to understanding the broader implications of his work. They also illustrate the complex interplay between scientific progress and the societal values it must serve. The aftermath of Oppenheimer's triumph in the Manhattan Project marked a pivotal chapter in his life. It set the stage for his later struggles with political scrutiny and personal doubt as he navigated the turbulent intersection of science, ethics, and policy. For many, his reflections offered a poignant reminder of the human cost of technological breakthroughs and enduring quest for a better world. 8. The Hydrogen Bomb Debate, Conflict and Controversy, 1949 to 1950. The late 1940s marked a shift in the global nuclear landscape as the Soviet Union successfully tested its first atomic bomb in 1949. This event shattered the United States' monopoly on nuclear weapons and intensified Cold War tensions. In response, political and military leaders in the U.S. called for the development of a new, even more powerful weapon, the hydrogen bomb. Unlike atomic bombs, which relied on nuclear fission, the hydrogen bomb would use nuclear fusion to unleash unprecedented destructive force. This proposal ignited fierce debates within the scientific community and government. Oppenheimer, as chairman of the General Advisory Committee (GAC) to the Atomic Energy Commission (AC), became a central figure in these discussions. He and the GAC issued a report advising against the development of the hydrogen bomb. Their concerns were both technical and moral, emphasizing the weapon's catastrophic potential and questioning its necessity. Oppenheimer argued that such an escalation would only fuel the arms race and increase the likelihood of global annihilation. Despite the GAC's recommendations, proponents of a hydrogen bomb, including Edward Teller, pushed aggressively for its development. Teller, a physicist who had worked with Oppenheimer at Los Alamos, championed the project as a strategic imperative. His vision clashed with Oppenheimer's cautious approach, leading to heated disagreements that reflected broader divisions within the scientific community. These debates highlighted the challenges of balancing scientific innovation with ethical responsibility in the nuclear age. The political climate of the time also played a crucial role in shaping the debate. The Cold War's intensifying paranoia and rivalry left little room for nuanced discussions about disarmament or restraint. Many policymakers viewed the hydrogen bomb as essential to maintaining American superiority and deterring Soviet aggression. President Harry Truman ultimately sided with the Hawks, authorizing the hydrogen bomb's development in early 1950. This decision marked a turning point in U.S. nuclear policy, with far-reaching implications for global security. For Oppenheimer, the hydrogen bomb debate deepened his sense of isolation. His opposition to the project drew criticism from both political leaders and former colleagues. Critics accused him of being naive about geopolitical realities and overly idealistic in his vision for international cooperation. These tensions strained his professional relationships and foreshadowed the scrutiny he would face in subsequent years. The controversy also revealed the shifting dynamics within the scientific community. During the Manhattan Project, collaboration had been driven by a shared sense of urgency and purpose. In the post-war era, however, divisions emerged as scientists grappled with the moral and strategic implications of their work. The hydrogen bomb debate exemplified these divisions, as figures like Teller and Oppenheimer found themselves on opposite sides of a profound ethical and scientific dilemma. Oppenheimer's philosophical outlook further shaped his stance. He viewed science as a tool for understanding the natural world, not for unrestrained destruction. His opposition to the hydrogen bomb was rooted in a belief that humanity must exercise restraint in wielding its newfound power. Yet, this perspective was increasingly at odds with the militaristic ethos dominating U.S. policy in the early Cold War. The decision to pursue the hydrogen bomb had significant consequences for global arms development. It accelerated the nuclear arms race, with both the U.S. and Soviet Union dedicating vast resources to building ever more destructive arsenals. The technical challenges of fusion weapon design were eventually overcome, leading to the successful test of the first hydrogen bomb in 1952. This event underscored the rapid escalation of nuclear capabilities and the growing risks of catastrophic conflict. For Oppenheimer, the hydrogen bomb debate marked the beginning of a more contentious phase in his career. It solidified his reputation as a voice of caution and conscience, even as it alienated him from powerful allies. The ethical questions he raised during this period remain relevant in discussions about the role of science and technology in society. As the Cold War deepened, Oppenheimer's vision of restraint and cooperation seemed increasingly out of step with the times. This chapter in Oppenheimer's life encapsulates the profound challenges of navigating the intersection of science, policy, and ethics. It also highlights the enduring tensions between innovation and responsibility, a theme that would continue to shape his legacy. 9. Political fallout. The Red Scare and Oppenheimer's downfall, 1950 to 1954. The early 1950s were a tumultuous period for Oppenheimer, as political currents in the United States turned increasingly hostile. The Red Scare, fueled by fears of communist infiltration and Soviet espionage, created a climate of suspicion and paranoia. High-profile figures, particularly those with leftist leanings, became targets of intense scrutiny and accusation. For Oppenheimer, whose earlier associations with leftist causes were well documented, this era marked the beginning of his public and professional unraveling. Oppenheimer's political affiliations and past relationships came under intense investigation. During the 1930s, he had been loosely connected to the Communist Party through friends, colleagues, and even his wife, Kitty. Although he never officially joined the party, these associations made him a prime target for suspicion in the McCarthy era. His outspoken opposition to the hydrogen bomb and his advocacy for international control of nuclear weapons further alienated him from powerful figures in Washington. These positions were increasingly viewed as unpatriotic or even subversive. In 1953, Oppenheimer's adversaries within the government launched a concerted effort to undermine him. Lewis Strauss, chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission, AEC, and a staunch supporter of the hydrogen bomb, played a pivotal role in orchestrating Oppenheimer's downfall. Strauss had long harbored personal and professional grievances against Oppenheimer, stemming from policy disagreements and perceived slights. These tensions culminated in the decision to revoke Oppenheimer's security clearance, effectively ending his career in government and policy advising. The AEC hearings, held in 1954, were a highly publicized and deeply contentious affair. Oppenheimer faced a barrage of questions about his political affiliations, personal relationships, and professional decisions. While he defended himself with composure and eloquence, the hearings were stacked against him. The proceedings revealed the extent to which Cold War paranoia had infiltrated the highest levels of American governance. Testimonies from former colleagues, including Edward Teller, further damaged Oppenheimer's credibility and reputation. The revocation of Oppenheimer's security clearance was a devastating blow. It symbolized not only his personal defeat, but also the triumph of Cold War militarism over the cautious, ethical approach he had advocated. The decision marked a turning point in his life, forcing him to retreat from the public sphere and reevaluate his role in the nuclear age. For many observers, the hearings underscored the dangers of politicizing science and the consequences of ideological conformity. Despite the personal and professional toll, Oppenheimer's ordeal had broader implications for the scientific community. The hearings sent a chilling message to other scientists, discouraging dissent and stifling open debate on issues of national security. They also highlighted the precarious position of scientists in a world increasingly dominated by political and military considerations. For Oppenheimer, the hearings were a stark reminder of the limits of influence and the fragility of trust. Oppenheimer's post-hearing years were marked by a mixture of isolation and introspection. He withdrew from many of his public roles and focused on academic pursuits, serving as director of the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton. This position allowed him to engage with intellectual and philosophical questions that had long intrigued him, albeit in a more subdued and private capacity. He remained a respected figure in the scientific community, even as his influence in policy circles waned. The political climate of the time also began to shift, as the excesses of the McCarthy era came under increasing scrutiny. Oppenheimer's case became a symbol of the dangers of ideological witch hunts and the need to protect intellectual freedom. While his security clearance was never reinstated, his reputation was partially rehabilitated in the years that followed. Historians and contemporaries alike recognized the hearings as a grave injustice, reflecting the broader tensions and contradictions of the Cold War era. The fallout from Oppenheimer's downfall extended beyond his own life. It highlighted the enduring tensions between science, politics, and ethics in the nuclear age. His experiences served as a cautionary tale for future generations of scientists and policymakers, underscoring the importance of maintaining independence and integrity in the face of external pressures. For Oppenheimer, the hearings were both an end and a beginning, a moment of reckoning that would define his legacy. This chapter in Oppenheimer's life encapsulates the broader challenges of navigating a world where scientific innovation and political power intersect. 10 Years of Reflection. Oppenheimer in Exile, 1954 to 1960. After the devastating revocation of his security clearance in 1954, Oppenheimer retreated from the forefront of public and political life. Though deeply wounded by the hearings, he sought solace in academic and intellectual pursuits. His position as director of the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton provided a sanctuary where he could continue engaging with theoretical physics and philosophical inquiry. These years marked a period of reflection, both on his career and the broader implications of the atomic age. At Princeton, Oppenheimer cultivated an environment that encouraged interdisciplinary collaboration. Scholars from diverse fields, including mathematics, history, and philosophy, came together to explore complex questions about science and society. Oppenheimer's leadership reflected his belief in the interconnectedness of knowledge and his commitment to fostering a deeper understanding of humanity's place in the universe. Despite his diminished public role, he remained a revered figure among his colleagues and students. Oppenheimer also used this period to reconnect with his earlier intellectual passions. He delved deeply into literature, particularly the works of poets like John Donne and T.S. Eliot, whose writings resonated with his introspective mood. Philosophy and Eastern thought continued to influence his worldview, shaping his reflections on morality, responsibility, and the nature of power. These pursuits provided a counterbalance to the pressures and disappointments of his earlier career. The isolation of these years, however, was not without its challenges. Oppenheimer struggled with feelings of alienation and bitterness, particularly as the scientific and political communities moved on without him. The rapid pace of nuclear advancements, including the testing of the hydrogen bomb, underscored the extent to which his warnings had been ignored. Yet he remained steadfast in his belief that humanity had a responsibility to wield its newfound power with care and foresight. Despite his withdrawal from direct involvement in nuclear policy, Oppenheimer occasionally re-entered the public discourse. He delivered lectures and wrote essays addressing the ethical responsibilities of scientists and the dangers of unbridled technological progress. These appearances, though infrequent, reminded audiences of his intellectual depth and moral conviction. They also served as a platform for him to advocate for international cooperation and disarmament, themes that had defined his post-war career. Oppenheimer's personal life during these years was similarly complex. His relationships with family and friends reflected the strains of his public disgrace and his own introspection. His marriage to Kitty endured, though it was marked by tension and emotional distance. He remained close to his children, Peter and Catherine, striving to shield them from the fallout of his professional troubles. These connections provided a source of stability amid the upheaval of his exile. The broader scientific community, meanwhile, began to reassess Oppenheimer's contributions and legacy. As the excesses of the McCarthy era gave way to more critical understanding of its impact, many recognized the injustice of his treatment. Scholars and historians revisited his role in the Manhattan Project and his efforts to shape nuclear policy, offering a more nuanced view of his life and work. These reassessments contributed to a gradual rehabilitation of his reputation, even if official vindication remained elusive. Oppenheimer's reflections during this period also extended to the philosophical and ethical dimensions of science. He questioned the notion of progress, particularly when divorced from considerations of human welfare and environmental sustainability. These ideas found expression in his writings and lectures, which emphasized the need for humility and caution in the face of technological power. His insights continued to influence debates about the role of science in society and the responsibilities of its practitioners. By the late 1950s, Oppenheimer's place in history was increasingly secure. Despite the controversies surrounding his career, he remained an iconic figure, representing both the triumphs and tragedies of the nuclear age. His work at the Institute for Advanced Study ensured that his intellectual contributions endured, even as his public influence waned. For Oppenheimer, these years of reflection were both a retreat and an opportunity to redefine his legacy. Oppenheimer's period of exile stands as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. It encapsulates the complexity of his character, blending brilliance, introspection, and a profound sense of moral responsibility. 11. Return to recognition. The late years, 1960 to 1967. As the 1960s dawned, the shadow of the McCarthy era began to lift, and with it came a re-evaluation of Oppenheimer's legacy. While his security clearance was never restored, his intellectual contributions and moral stance on nuclear weapons earned him growing respect among both peers and the public. Oppenheimer, once a symbol of Cold War paranoia, was slowly reimagined as a figure of conscience and complexity. These years marked a gradual return to recognition, though they were also tinged with personal and professional melancholy. Oppenheimer's role as director of the Institute for Advanced Study remained central to his life. Under his leadership, the Institute thrived as a hub of innovative thought and interdisciplinary collaboration. Scholars from across the world sought opportunities to work and learn under his guidance. Oppenheimer's ability to inspire curiosity and challenge conventional wisdom made him an enduring influence in the academic world. Yet he approached this role with a quieter intensity, reflecting the tempered ambitions of a man shaped by controversy. Public honors began to trickle in, signaling a shift in the perception of his contributions. In 1963, President John F. Kennedy approved the decision to award Oppenheimer the Enrico Fermi Award, a prestigious recognition of his service to science. Although Kennedy's assassination delayed the formal ceremony, President Lyndon B. Johnson presented the award later that year. For Oppenheimer, the Fermi Award was both a personal vindication and a bittersweet reminder of the accolades he might have received in different circumstances. The presentation of the Fermi Award was emblematic of Oppenheimer's complex legacy. While some celebrated his achievements in advancing scientific knowledge, others remained critical of his opposition to the hydrogen bomb and his wartime decisions. Oppenheimer himself appeared ambivalent about the recognition, accepting it with characteristic grace, but privately reflecting on the ambiguities of his career. The award, however, marked a turning point in his public rehabilitation, bringing renewed attention to his ideas and perspectives. Oppenheimer's intellectual pursuits during this time delved deeper into philosophical questions. He wrote and spoke extensively about the interplay of science, ethics, and humanity's future. His lectures often explored the limits of scientific knowledge and the importance of humility in the face of nature's complexity. These reflections resonated with audiences grappling with the rapid technological advancements of the mid-20th century, offering timeless insights into the responsibilities of scientists. His voice, though tempered by experience, remained a vital force in public discourse. Oppenheimer also took time to reconnect with his earlier passions. He immersed himself in literature, philosophy, and art, finding solace and inspiration in creative expression. His interest in Eastern philosophy deepened, with texts like the Bhagavad Gita continuing to shape his worldview. These pursuits reflected a man who, despite the trials he had endured, sought to remain engaged with the richness of human thought and culture. They also offered a counterbalance to the scientific rigor that had defined much of his career. Despite his achievements, the late years of Oppenheimer's life were not without challenges. His health began to decline, exacerbated by a lifetime of smoking and the emotional toll of his earlier struggles. Diagnosed with throat cancer in 1965, he faced the illness with quiet determination, continuing to work and engage with his community as long as he was able. His resilience in the face of adversity was a testament to his enduring strength of character. Yet, the inevitability of his condition cast a shadow over his final years. Oppenheimer's legacy during this period was shaped not only by his past accomplishments, but also by his continued relevance. As the nuclear arms race persisted, and the world grappled with the implications of scientific progress, his warnings about restraint and responsibility took on renewed urgency. Historians, scientists, and policymakers increasingly recognized the prescience of his insights, framing him as a cautionary figure in the history of science and technology. His story became a touchstone for discussions about the ethical dimensions of innovation. By the time of his death in 1967, Oppenheimer had come to embody the contradictions of the nuclear age. He was celebrated as a brilliant physicist, criticized as a controversial policymaker, and admired as a moral philosopher. His life and work reflected the complexity of a world transformed by atomic power, offering lessons that continue to resonate. Oppenheimer's journey from renown to exile and back to recognition is a narrative of resilience, introspection, and the enduring search for meaning. This chapter of Oppenheimer's life underscores the power of reflection and the possibility of redemption. It serves as a reminder of the importance of balancing ambition with ethics and of seeking understanding even in the face of adversity. 12. The Legacy of Oppenheimer: Science, Ethics, and the Atomic Age, post-1967. After his death in 1967, Oppenheimer's legacy grew into a multifaceted symbol of the atomic age. His contributions to science, his leadership during the Manhattan Project, and his moral introspection became subjects of intense scholarly and public interest. Oppenheimer's story, marked by extraordinary achievements and profound ethical dilemmas, remains one of the most compelling narratives in the history of modern science. His life continues to provoke questions about the responsibilities of scientists and the consequences of technological progress. One of the most enduring aspects of Oppenheimer's legacy is his pivotal role in advancing theoretical physics. Before his involvement in Manhattan Project, Oppenheimer was a brilliant academic whose work helped shape the understanding of quantum mechanics and astrophysics. His contributions, such as research on black holes and quantum field theory, established him as a leader in his field. These achievements, though sometimes overshadowed by his later work on the atomic bomb, laid the foundation for much of 20th century physics. The Manhattan Project, however, remains the centerpiece of Oppenheimer's legacy. As the scientific director at Los Alamos, he orchestrated a groundbreaking collaboration that brought together some of the greatest minds of the time. The project's success, culminating in the development of the first atomic bombs, marked a watershed moment in human history. It demonstrated the power of scientific innovation while also revealing its potential for catastrophic destruction. This duality defines Oppenheimer's place in history as both a creator and a harbinger of a new and dangerous era. Oppenheimer's reflections on the ethical implications of the atomic bomb have also become a central element of his legacy. His famous invocation of the Bhagavad Gita, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds," captures the profound ambivalence he felt about his role in unleashing nuclear power. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Oppenheimer publicly grappled with the consequences of his work, advocating for international control of nuclear weapons and cautioning against their use. These efforts, though met with resistance, underscored his commitment to ethical responsibility and global peace. In the decades following his death, Oppenheimer's life has been revisited through numerous biographies, documentaries, and academic studies. Historians have examined the complexities of his character, exploring his scientific brilliance, personal struggles, and philosophical inquiries. These portrayals often highlight the contradictions that defined him, a man of great ambition who also recognized the limits and dangers of human achievement. His story serves as both an inspiration and a cautionary tale for scientists, policymakers, and the public. Each retelling adds new layers to the understanding of his multifaceted legacy. Oppenheimer's influence extends beyond the realm of science and into broader discussions of ethics and governance. His experiences during the McCarthy era, particularly the revocation of his security clearance, have become emblematic of the tensions between intellectual freedom and political ideology. They raise enduring questions about the treatment of dissenting voices and the balance between national security and individual rights. Oppenheimer's ordeal serves as a stark reminder of the challenges faced by those who stand at the intersection of science and politics. The cultural impact of Oppenheimer's life is equally significant. He has been immortalized in literature, film, and art, often as a symbol of the moral dilemmas posed by scientific progress. These depictions reflect the enduring relevance of his story, capturing the imagination of audiences and sparking debates about the role of scientists in shaping society. From dramatic portrayals to philosophical meditations, Oppenheimer's legacy continues to inspire and challenge. He remains a figure whose life invites reflection on the complexities of human endeavor. Oppenheimer's contributions to education also form an important part of his legacy. His work at the Institute for Advanced Study helped nurture the next generation of scientists and thinkers, fostering an environment of innovation and intellectual rigor. Through his mentorship and leadership, he left a lasting imprint on the academic community. This aspect of his legacy highlights the importance of nurturing curiosity and collaboration, values that continue to shape the scientific enterprise. His efforts ensured that his influence would endure well beyond his own lifetime. The broader lessons of Oppenheimer's life are perhaps his most enduring gift. He demonstrated the power of science to transform the world while also highlighting the responsibilities that come with such power. His reflections on morality, responsibility, and the limits of human knowledge remain profoundly relevant in an age defined by rapid technological change. Oppenheimer's legacy serves as a guide for navigating the challenges of innovation, emphasizing the need for wisdom, humility, and ethical awareness. Oppenheimer's story is a testament to the complexities of human achievement. It encapsulates the triumphs and tragedies of the atomic age, offering insights into the interplay of science, ethics, and society. His legacy continues to resonate, reminding us of the potential for both greatness and peril in the pursuit of knowledge. 13. The global impact of Oppenheimer's work, post-World War II, to present. Oppenheimer's work as the father of the atomic bomb profoundly influenced the global landscape, altering the trajectory of international relations, military strategy, and scientific collaboration. The creation of nuclear weapons marked the beginning of the atomic age, a period defined by both technological marvels and existential threats. His contributions laid the foundation for an era where humanity grappled with unprecedented power and responsibility. The ripple effects of his work continue to shape the modern world in complex and far-reaching ways. One of the most immediate and dramatic impacts of Oppenheimer's work was the introduction of nuclear weapons into warfare. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945 demonstrated the devastating potential of this new technology. These events not only ended World War II, but also ushered in a new era of geopolitical dynamics. The immense destructive power of nuclear weapons reshaped military strategies and highlighted the urgent need for international mechanisms to prevent their misuse. This marked the beginning of the nuclear arms race. The Cold War era saw the proliferation of nuclear weapons as nations vied for technological and strategic superiority. The United States and the Soviet Union, in particular, embarked on a relentless quest to develop more advanced and powerful weapons. This competition led to the testing and stockpiling of thousands of nuclear warheads, raising fears of a catastrophic conflict. Oppenheimer, despite his early role in nuclear development, became a vocal advocate for arms control and international cooperation. His warnings underscored the dangers of unchecked nuclear expansion. Oppenheimer's work also spurred the growth of civilian nuclear energy programs. While initially associated with destruction, nuclear technology found applications in power generation, medicine, and industry. The peaceful uses of atomic energy became a cornerstone of post-war scientific progress, providing a cleaner alternative to fossil fuels. Organizations like the International Atomic Energy Agency, (IA), were established to promote safe and responsible use of nuclear technology. This dual legacy of destruction and utility reflects the dual nature of Oppenheimer's contributions. The ethical questions raised by Oppenheimer's work have had a lasting impact on scientific discourse. His reflections on the moral implications of creating nuclear weapons continue to inform debates about the responsibilities of scientists. These discussions extend beyond nuclear technology to encompass fields like artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and climate science. Oppenheimer's life serves as a case study in the ethical dilemmas posed by groundbreaking discoveries, offering lessons for navigating the challenges of innovation. His warnings about the misuse of science remain as relevant as ever. The global impact of Oppenheimer's work is also evident in the formation of international treaties and organizations aimed at controlling nuclear proliferation. Agreements like the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT, and efforts by the United Nations to promote disarmament reflect a recognition of the dangers posed by nuclear weapons. Oppenheimer's early advocacy for international oversight contributed to the foundation of these initiatives. Though progress has been uneven, his vision of a world united in managing nuclear power remains a guiding principle for policymakers. This legacy underscores the importance of collaboration in addressing global challenges. The cultural influence of Oppenheimer's work is another significant aspect of its global impact. His role in the development of the atomic bomb has inspired countless works of literature, film, and art. These portrayals explore themes of power, morality, and the human condition, reflecting the enduring fascination with his story. From biographies to dramatizations, Oppenheimer's life continues to captivate audiences and provoke reflection on the consequences of scientific achievement. His legacy transcends his era, resonating with new generations. Oppenheimer's contributions also paved the way for advancements in scientific collaboration. The Manhattan Project was one of the first large-scale interdisciplinary scientific efforts, setting a precedent for future endeavors. Today, global initiatives in fields like space exploration, particle physics, and climate research echo the collaborative spirit of Los Alamos. These projects demonstrate the potential of science to unite people across national and cultural boundaries. Oppenheimer's leadership during the Manhattan Project remains a model for achieving shared goals through cooperation. The global impact of Oppenheimer's work is a reminder of the dual nature of scientific progress. It offers immense potential for improving human lives while also presenting profound risks. His story encapsulates the tensions between innovation and caution, ambition and responsibility. These themes continue to shape the discourse around science and technology in the modern world. They highlight the need for vigilance, wisdom, and ethical awareness in the pursuit of knowledge. Oppenheimer's legacy is a testament to the transformative power of science. It reflects both the opportunities and challenges of the atomic age, offering insights into the complex interplay of discovery, ethics, and humanity. His work has left an indelible mark on the global stage, shaping the world in ways that continue to unfold. 14. Oppenheimer in retrospect, modern perspectives on his legacy. Reflecting on Oppenheimer's legacy offers a nuanced understanding of his contributions and challenges. Over the decades, his life and work have been analyzed through various lenses, each shedding light on different facets of his impact. To some, he remains a towering figure of scientific achievement. To others, he symbolizes the moral quandaries that arise from wielding unprecedented power. These perspectives have deepened the discourse on the responsibilities of scientists and the implications of their discoveries. In modern physics, Oppenheimer's contributions to theoretical science remain foundational. His early work, particularly on quantum mechanics and black holes, has influenced generations of scientists. Research in these fields has advanced significantly, but Oppenheimer's insights continue to be cited and built upon. The academic community regards him as a pioneer whose intellectual curiosity and rigor set a standard for excellence. His influence extends beyond his era, bridging the gap between foundational research and contemporary breakthroughs. Oppenheimer's leadership during the Manhattan Project is often hailed as a remarkable organizational and scientific feat. The unprecedented nature of the project required innovative approaches to collaboration, problem-solving, and logistics. Modern large-scale scientific endeavors, such as the Human Genome Project and CERN's particle physics experiments, draw inspiration from the interdisciplinary model established at Los Alamos. Oppenheimer's ability to unite diverse talents under a common goal is celebrated as a key element of the Manhattan Project's success. This legacy underscores the enduring value of teamwork in achieving monumental scientific milestones. However, the ethical questions surrounding Oppenheimer's work remain a focal point of modern discussions. The development of nuclear weapons has led to ongoing debates about the morality of their use and the responsibility of scientists in their creation. Oppenheimer's own reflections, including his advocacy for arms control and international oversight, resonate in contemporary dialogues on artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and other transformative fields. His willingness to confront the moral implications of his achievements sets a precedent for scientists grappling with similar dilemmas today. Cultural representations of Oppenheimer have played a significant role in shaping public perceptions of his legacy. Films, biographies, and documentaries often explore the tension between his scientific brilliance and his moral struggles. These narratives highlight the human aspects of his story, portraying him as a complex figure who embodied both ambition and introspection. They also serve as reminders of the profound impact individuals can have on history, particularly in moments of great technological and political change. Oppenheimer's life continues to captivate audiences, inspiring reflection on the broader themes of responsibility and consequence. The reinterpretation of Oppenheimer's security hearings has also influenced modern perspectives. Once seen as a contentious political episode, the revocation of his security clearance is now viewed by many as an injustice. Historians and legal scholars have examined the broader implications of this event, emphasizing the dangers of politicizing science and marginalizing dissenting voices. Oppenheimer's ordeal serves as a cautionary tale about the vulnerability of intellectual freedom in times of political tension. It highlights the need for protecting open discourse and supporting the independence of scientific inquiry. Modern discussions of nuclear weapons often revisit Oppenheimer's warnings about their dangers. The global nuclear arsenal, while reduced from its Cold War peak, remains a significant concern. Efforts to achieve disarmament and prevent proliferation reflect the enduring relevance of his advocacy for international cooperation. Oppenheimer's insights into the risks of nuclear power continue to guide policymakers, reminding them of the catastrophic consequences of mismanagement or misuse. His legacy serves as a touchstone for efforts to navigate the complexities of the nuclear age. Educational institutions and scientific organizations frequently honor Oppenheimer's contributions. Lectures, awards, and programs bearing his name celebrate his role in advancing science and fostering intellectual growth. These tributes highlight his dual legacy as a researcher and a mentor, emphasizing his commitment to knowledge and collaboration. By inspiring future generations of scientists, Oppenheimer's impact extends far beyond his lifetime. He remains a symbol of the transformative potential of curiosity and inquiry. Modern perspectives on Oppenheimer also address the duality of his legacy. He is celebrated as a trailblazer who expanded the boundaries of human knowledge and as a cautionary figure whose work revealed the darker side of scientific progress. This duality reflects the complexities of his story, offering lessons about the interplay of ambition, ethics, and consequence. Oppenheimer's life encapsulates the challenges of balancing innovation with responsibility in a rapidly changing world. It serves as a reminder of the profound responsibilities that accompany great power and discovery. Oppenheimer's legacy, viewed through the lens of modern perspectives, remains deeply relevant. It resonates across scientific, ethical, and cultural domains, offering insights into the enduring questions of our time. His story is a testament to the power of science to shape the world and the responsibility that comes with that power. 15. The enduring legacy of J. Robert Oppenheimer. As the decades have unfolded, the legacy of J. Robert Oppenheimer has grown into a multifaceted narrative of science, ethics, and humanity. His life and work resonate across disciplines, serving as a touchstone for discussions about the potential and perils of scientific progress. The story of Oppenheimer is not confined to history. It continues to inform contemporary debates and inspire future generations. His legacy embodies the challenges and triumphs of a man who lived at the intersection of intellect and responsibility. Oppenheimer's contributions to science remain a cornerstone of his legacy. His theoretical advancements in physics, including groundbreaking work on quantum mechanics and stellar phenomena, have had a lasting impact. Scholars and educators recognize him as one of the most influential figures in modern science, whose insights laid the groundwork for subsequent discoveries. Beyond his scientific achievements, Oppenheimer's role as a mentor and leader is celebrated for fostering intellectual growth and collaboration. His interdisciplinary approach remains a model for addressing complex challenges in science and beyond. The moral questions raised by Oppenheimer's involvement in the Manhattan Project continue to be central to his legacy. His reflections on the ethical implications of nuclear weapons have influenced generations of scientists and policymakers. These questions are not limited to nuclear technology. They extend to emerging fields like artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and climate engineering. Oppenheimer's story serves as a reminder of the profound responsibility that accompanies the pursuit of knowledge. It challenges us to consider the broader impact of our actions and decisions. Culturally, Oppenheimer has become a symbol of the complexities of human ambition and the consequences of innovation. His life has been immortalized in books, films, and art, which explore his role in shaping the atomic age and his personal struggles. These portrayals often highlight the duality of his legacy, as a pioneer of scientific achievement and as a figure haunted by the destructive potential of his work. They resonate with audiences, offering insights into the human condition and the ethical dilemmas of progress. Oppenheimer's cultural impact ensures that his story remains relevant in an ever-changing world. The institutions and initiatives inspired by Oppenheimer's work reflect his enduring influence. Organizations dedicated to arms control, nuclear safety, and international collaboration owe much to his vision of responsible science. Educational programs and scholarships that bear his name encourage the next generation of scientists to approach their work with rigor and integrity. These efforts underscore the importance of balancing innovation with ethical considerations, a principle that Oppenheimer championed in his later years. His legacy is not only one of discovery, but also of caution and wisdom. The enduring relevance of Oppenheimer's legacy is evident in global efforts to address the challenges of the atomic age. From treaties aimed at nuclear disarmament to debates on the peaceful use of nuclear technology, his insights continue to shape policy and discourse. His warnings about the risks of nuclear proliferation have become even more urgent in a world grappling with geopolitical tensions and technological advancements. Oppenheimer's advocacy for international oversight remains a guiding principle for managing the complexities of modern science and technology. Oppenheimer's story is also a testament to the power of intellectual resilience. Despite facing professional setbacks, political persecution, and personal doubts, he remained committed to his ideals. His ability to navigate adversity while pursuing truth and knowledge has inspired countless individuals. This resilience underscores the importance of perseverance in the face of challenges, a lesson that transcends the scientific domain. Oppenheimer's life demonstrates the enduring value of integrity and purpose in achieving meaningful impact. The dual nature of Oppenheimer's legacy, marked by both achievement and ambivalence, reflects the complexities of the modern age. His contributions to science and his ethical reflections offer lessons that are as relevant today as they were in his time. They encourage us to embrace the possibilities of innovation while remaining vigilant about its potential consequences. Oppenheimer's legacy challenges us to think critically about the role of science in society and the responsibilities that come with it. As we continue to grapple with the questions and challenges raised by Oppenheimer's work, his story serves as a guiding light. It invites us to reflect on the relationship between knowledge and power, ambition and morality. His life is a reminder that the pursuit of science is not merely a quest for answers, but also a journey of ethical exploration. Oppenheimer's legacy endures as a profound and enduring influence on how we understand and shape our world. In the end, Oppenheimer's life encapsulates the promise and peril of human ingenuity. His story is not just about the atomic bomb or the Manhattan Project. It is about the enduring quest for understanding and the courage to confront its consequences. Oppenheimer's legacy continues to inspire, challenge, and guide us as we navigate the complexities of the modern age. Thanks for tuning in to Historical Legacies. If you enjoyed this dive into history, please like, subscribe, and share. Join us next time for more fascinating stories from the past.